Recorder wasn't ready. Hey, Coach, I was curious with Drew Sanders. Do you guys have conversations about him, with meeting his former team and stuff, or is it you just let it go with the flow?
Well, I didn't have a formal conversation with him. He and Bump were over in Shear's office, and I just walked in, and I mean, I just told him old stories about me being at Blaine County, and I was at Watonga, Gary, and Canton. We'd go back and compete against them, and I just tell him some funny stories, about my history. Obviously, not any kind of stage like this, but no, he's such a mature guy, and I'm sure he'll have feelings, but we try to keep it as light as we can on that situation, and I think he'll be fine, and he'll obviously want to play well, and I'm sure the guys over there will obviously want to play well against him, but I think they would, regardless of whether he had transferred or not, to be honest with you.
It's been a couple games since you guys have forced a turnover, and they always say turnovers come in bunches. I know I see you guys practicing stripping the ball and all that kind of stuff, but is that something that you kind of talk about? It's been a while since we had a turnover, or?
Yeah, we have. We talk about that specifically. We talk about winning the turnover battle, and obviously you have to get some to win it, and certainly are making the emphasis on it. What I'm learning a little bit is each season is different. What happens during the season, sometimes you get more than others, but we're certainly emphasizing it, and hopefully this game's the one, but we're sure teaching it, and sometimes those things just happen, but you knock a ball out, you're just tackling, but certainly are aware of that stat that you bring up, and we're sure working on it, Trey.
Thanks, Coach.
Bob?
Hey, Sam, speaking of turnovers, I think Alabama's only got 3 takeaways. Well, what do you make of that? And does that maybe make you feel good that, you guys won't turn it over against them?
Well, Bob, I don't know if it makes a difference or not in far as blowout wins and things of that nature, but, they've really only had one game that was close at all, so they've gotten a lot of second and third team guys reps and things of that nature. So they may have an adequate number of turnovers if you just count the first team guys that are out there playing. But no, I mean, I really haven't thought about it, to be honest with you, a lot. It's just been worried a little bit more about us and how we can get them and how we can hold on to the ball.
And then, it's interesting, both teams have pretty good transfers from Georgia Tech, Gibbs for them, and obviously Jordan for you guys. I was wondering first what you're seeing from Gibbs. He seems, for a running back, seems really involved in the passing game. And then Jordan, he started off well and seems like he's been pretty consistent for you. What do you think about that?
Well, Gibbs, we knew he was a great player out of high school. That's one of the first places I went with Jimmy Smith. He was committed to Georgia Tech, and we obviously went in there to talk to him. He didn't really want to talk to us very long, and I respected that. But he is a wonderful back out of the backfield. I mean, he can run an option route, an angle route, as good as anybody in the country. He catches the ball extremely well, but he's going to hurt you with the ball in his hand. They certainly use him at running back, handing the ball at running back to him a lot. Just an outstanding player, has been for a long time. Scott pulled up some things about for the team when he was returning kickoffs for Georgia Tech as well, just to show what kind of athlete he's been for a while. JD has really done a nice job for us. We went out to get him. A big part of it was for his pass rushing ability, and he certainly hadn't disappointed as a man, as a player. Hadn't disappointed us one bit. We're awful lucky that we got him.
Thanks.
Coach, you mentioned Rashad Dominion as kind of a change-up guy for you on Monday. I'm curious, through 4 games, what you thought of him so far, being a true freshman.
I think he's done a great job. He's a tough kid, tough runner, never in trouble, never late for a class, never on any list. I mean, just a wonderful addition to the team, and he brings that toughness, that Cedar Grove, Georgia toughness that Jimmy and the newer coaches that instilled in him there at Cedar Grove. That's the one, to be honest with you. I know we've talked a lot about AJ and about Dominique and of course Rocket, but that's the one right there that I would like to see get more carries in a game. He certainly had a couple of really good, nice carries in the A&M game, and that's the one we probably need to learn a little bit more about. But I've been extremely pleased with him. He can cut on a dime, and I think he's going to be a really good player for us. He is now, but I think he's going to be a really, really good running back for us.
And those 2 carries in the A&M game were both in the fourth quarter in a really critical spot. Does that just kind of show how y'all trust in him to put him in such a big spot like that?
Absolutely. It's a little bit more of a change up, a guy that, can cut on a dime, some things of that nature. It's just a different back. And of course, that would change it up, immediately, but his running style's very unique, and we trust him. It certainly does. Showed him a lot of trust there, and I was glad that he got those carries in those critical situations because we believe in him.
Scotty.
Hey, Sam, I'm curious for your thoughts, because just on the importance of punt coverage this weekend. I think Bama's got the national leader in return yardage, and they've had some pretty big totals in recent weeks.
They have. I mean, he's an elite returner back there, McKinstry, and our coverage unit's been good. Last week, Smith didn't have any returns on us. Certainly, that's up to our punter and our gunners. We want to punt the ball better than what we did last week. What we have. And I believe that we will, but our coverage units have been pretty good. We're well aware of him back there returning punts, and so we need to do exactly what we did last week. Make sure we punt it in the right zone. Make sure we have hang time so we can get down there and cover him. But we highly respect him. Really good player.
And earlier this week, I went back and watched some of last year's game at Bama, and you guys, I think, answered a score of theirs 3 or 4 different times. I guess just being able to respond or throw your own punches again this week. How big might that be? Well,
I think we're going to have to. I mean, we're going to have to score. We're going to have to score some points, to stay in the game. And we were able to respond last year. The problem is, for most part of that game, we were down 2 at one point, 3 scores, and we battled back into it. We need to strike as fast as we possibly can. Last year, I felt like we was playing catch up the whole time. I think we got within 6 at one point, but we need to strike fast, and hopefully we're able to do that. But it showed that we were resilient, and that, we scored 35, and that was a big deal for the offense. We couldn't hold them for under 42 last year. And they're as good offensively and defensively, probably better on defense than they were a year ago, and certainly as good or better on offense.
If I remember right, I think on Monday you mentioned Eric Gregory a time or two, had a sack, I think, last week. And what growth are you seeing from him so far?
A lot. He's always been a hard worker, really hard-working kid. But now, he's a little quicker, a little stronger, a little bigger, and older, and has seen things. You learn a lot by playing, and he's done that. But he's always been a reliable guy. That played extremely hard, and I'm just glad that it's showing up for him and for the team. But he's just a little quicker, a little stronger, more knowledge, just playing a little bit better this year than what he ever had. And he never played bad. It's just he's playing his best ball right now.
Tom,
I think he had like 460 something yards on Bama last year. You subtract Burks from that equation, but still, I mean, is there some carryover things that you did in that game that, you know, you might be able to apply to this one?
Well, I think the thing that we did last year that allowed us to get the ball to Burks and Warren Thompson caught a long ball there as well. And Trey Knox had several catches in that game, maybe 4 or 5. I can't remember the number, but several. Is we ran the ball pretty well. And, you know, for us to have offensive success, we have to, we don't have to run the ball a lot. We just have to run it when we want to. And that can open up a lot of things for us. And we did a decent job a year ago of that. And certainly we have to do it again. But I think they're better on defense than they were a year ago. And I think they're really good. And that's going to be a tall task trying to turn around and hand the ball off. But for us to have success, we have to have positive running yards when we decide to do that.
What's so stout about their defensive backfield for this year's team? And you said they're better. How are they better defensively?
I think they're better on the D line. Toa is playing, I think, his best ball I've ever seen him play. I mean, he's all over the place. There's not any type of a weakness in their defense. And the thing that sticks out the most is they just don't miss tackles. I mean, you think, man, this is going to go for 12 yards, 10 yards, whatever it is, and it's a 1-yard gain. They are one of the best tackling teams I've seen. And I think that's what makes them so good. They've got the size, the speed on the D line. Obviously, Will Anderson's down there, but and then the second level with Toto and the guys around him, they're just a really, really good defense.
wrap us up, Trey.
Yeah, Coach, I'm curious how you felt Dominic did after getting, after getting 5 carries in the last game. I guess just kind of dusting off the knee a little bit. How does he feel, and what do you think of him?
You know, I thought he had a good game. He turned up in there a couple of times where it looked like the old Dominic to me. There's not a problem there with. I was going to say, well, the problem is because there's not a problem. We're still trying to figure out, who back 2 is. Still trying to figure out who back 3 is, and the only way I know how to do it is give them some carries and figure it out. And when you have 4 backs, it's just hard to get a guy a lot of reps, because I can tell you, I feel like AJ Green is much better than he was last year. Rashad Dominion wasn't here. And so with Dominique coming back, I to be honest with you, in the first game, I thought that was about the right amount of carries for him. And he did a really nice job. Him and Dominion, to me, really stood out last week. And, well, heck, AJ went 9 for average 4 yards a carry or so, and Rocket did too. So the line was doing a good job. We just have a lot of backs, Trey, to be honest with you. And it's kind of hard to figure out because, in my opinion, there's not, Rocket would be the standard there. And then the other 3 have something different to offer us. And it's hard to get them all the carries, to be perfectly honest with you.
79 degrees, partly cloudy, looking like the weather. And that Texas game is probably the best home crowd environment I've ever seen. You expecting something like that from the crowd on Saturday?
I would, and I don't know this for anything, but knowing the state of Arkansas and the passion for the Razorbacks, I would think this would be the best crowd since I've been here. The rowdiest, the best. I guess it's a red out, and but I'm hearing people were already lining up for parking spaces and things of that as early as today. And maybe that's wrong, I don't know, but that's what I heard. And So I think everybody's excited, and we, hopefully we can put it on a show for the fans. We'll just have to wait and see.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Go Hawks.